everybody. Welcome to another episode from Your Own Pathway Leadership and Mental Well-Being in the Workplace. For those who don't know me, my name is Paia. I'm a trained psychotherapist, turned empowerment life coach, and organizational leadership consultant, where I bring my experience, my expertise, and my skills to empower all of you to forge your own path and to own it. So, you know what? Let's talk about your mental health and your mental health specifically with work. And it's I'm taking a pause right now because life is hard. Let's just say for what it is, life is hard and work sometimes makes our life really hard. And um our work has such a huge impact on our mental health. And this is why I actually do these episodes. And this is why I turned into organizational leadership consultant because of my own professional experience and my experience as an employee assistance program therapist, where I heard a lot about leadership, mental health, and how all of that impacts our overall well being in the workplace and our satisfaction with work. And so today's episode says, should you take a break for your mental health? So, first of all, I want to say that this episode is a resource, it is a guide, it is not for all because all workplaces are very different. They're all very different. And for anyone who's watching this, I would say if you feel the need to take or are considering a break from your work due to mental health, check with your HR first because every place is so different. And what I'm going to talk about today is just a very broad, general perspective of what are the steps to take, or when do you know that maybe perhaps it's time to take a break, a mental health break from your job. So I just want to put it out there first. And before you all say, oh, yeah, Paya said this, so this is all should work, blah, blah, blah. No, unfortunately, each place is different. And again, I would highly, highly advise you to talk to your HR, talk to your supervisor. If you watch this video and this recording and decide, you know what? I'm feeling everything that Paya is talking about in this video. I think it's time for me to take a break. Definitely talk to the appropriate people in your workplace to see what are the steps that you need to take. So, first of all, I wanted to talk about that. So, you know what? Let's be real. Work can be a lot. And we're in a burnout epidemic that is impacting our mental health. I saw a lot of this, especially during COVID and after COVID, around 2021 to 2022. There was so much burnout. There were so many changes. People were working from home, and there were people who were, oh my God, um, not necessity workers. Oh, what's the word I'm talking about? Where you had to go work. And so, I apologize. I cannot think of the word right now. It'll come to me, but and so, during that time, things were so unsettled and people were not sure about their work fate. And so a lot of people, if you could, had the opportunity to work remotely, it was wonderful for a lot of people. And so when they got the chance to work from home remotely, whatever the situation, it was a relief for a lot of people. And then around 2-3 years later, they're getting mandates to return back to the office. So there's a lot of stress, there's a lot of uncertainty about all of that too. And so burnout was at an all-time high. I shouldn't say was, is at an all-time high right now. And it's an epidemic. Work isn't just draining for a lot of people. For some, it has become so unmanageable. And so we're expected to push through anxiety. We're barely sleeping. And sometimes, let's be honest, you may feel like you're crying before logging into the Zoom meeting or even driving to work. I remember when I was driving to a job that I hated. I hated it so much. I have a very I'm very imaginative, and So I just remember I felt like I was walking to my doom because I hated this job so much. As soon as I parked, each step I took felt like I was walking to my doom, and I I was like, "Oh my god, is this how is this how Marie Antoinette felt like when she was like, gonna go, do her thing? Well, not do her thing, but when she was forced to, go to the guillotine." And so I know that's like nothing compared to what Marie Antoinette went through. So I was very, um, when you're miserable, you start thinking about all these scenarios, and that's how I felt. And so I felt like crying. I was just walking to my doom, and I knew I hated that job, and I also knew that I needed a change. When I started envying the 17-year-old Jimmy John's kid who got to drive away in their Honda Accord, and I was just like, "Take me with you, take me with you." That's when I knew that I hated my job and that I had to get out of it. So some of us feel that way, like we're just crying, or we're walking to our doom, or log into that Zoom meeting, or whatever it is, and you're thinking, all of us have thought, is it is it really that bad to step away, or am I just weak, or what? It really isn't that bad. I should be so lucky to have a job, and why am I despairing over this job? So we've all have felt that way, and for anybody who's feeling this way, I assure you, you're not the only one. You're not weak. It's okay to acknowledge how you are feeling. And so let me say this clearly for all of you. Let me say this clearly. It is not weak to protect your mind. I'll say it again. It is not weak to protect your mind. It's responsible, it's leadership, and it's human. So when I worked as a EAP therapist and I saw people for a certain amount of time, there came a conversations for some of my clients where I had asked them, do you think it's time for you to take a break from your job? Because some of my clients would just jokingly say, "Pai, I need you to talk me out of stepping away from the ledge." I mean, even though it was a joke, I would have to assess, okay, I know it's real hard. Like, I know that was a joke, but what are your thoughts about this? How are you feeling? Is there something that's going to push you literally over the edge? And a few of them, my heart breaks for all of the people who said to me, I cry every day, or I cry when I get an email that adds another um another thing on my plate that I can't even handle. I cry. I can't do this anymore. And so it's like, okay, let's talk about this. Do you need to take a break? Do you need to take medical leave for your mental health? And so, again, I want to preface that each company is very different about taking FMLA, what's paid, what's not paid. From my understanding, FMLA is protection for you for, I think, about 12 weeks, saying that that you're protected to not be fired. However, will you be paid? That's up to, again, the company, your HR, and what are the rules and regulations for it. So let's talk about this. When is a time for you to take FMLA for your mental health? So, number one, the first sign that it may be time for you to take a break or FMLA for your mental health is you're emotionally exhausted every day. And this entails you wake up dreading the day already. Now, I know that a lot of you are like, well, Paya, I do that every day. I dread the day. I dread my job. I hate my job. And so, if that's how you're feeling, I would highly recommend you to really assess what is it about your job that you dread to get up every day about. Another sign is you feel numb, disconnected, or constantly overwhelmed. And I know that when people feel overwhelmed, they have constant anxiety, they cannot calm down, they think of the worst of the worst. And yeah, when you think that way, your day becomes emotionally exhausted. And As I'm saying all of this, I feel exhausted for the people who are feeling this way. And when I did a lot of EAP work, so many of my clients would say the exact things that they were feeling. They just dread waking up every day. They feel emotionally exhausted. They feel numb. They feel disconnected. They're constantly overwhelmed, which again increases their anxiety, which not kind of, but it makes them spiral down. And when you spiral, you can't focus on anything but the negative. So, number one is you're emotionally exhausted every day. Number two, your mental health symptoms are interfering with your ability to work. And so maybe this entails you missing deadlines or making frequent mistakes that you usually wouldn't or struggling to focus. Another sign is you're taking a lot of sick days, but that's not enough. I When I was working with clients, some of them will call in weekly. Call in weekly and it became a pattern. And so a lot of them were highly suggested to come to therapy to talk about whatever it is that's going on because of so many absentees that they were allowed or they were pushing towards the number of allowed absences from work that the boss was like, whatever is going on, we need you to go to therapy as part of you not being let go. And so they would come to therapy, they would talk about what's going on. And one of the questions like I would assess or we would do as therapists is we're like, okay, what are your symptoms? How is this impacting your day-to-day functioning? How is your depressive symptoms impacting your daily functioning? And so yeah, like missing details or calling in sick or I can't even get up from bed because I don't have the energy to get up. I don't have the energy to do this or um I don't have um I'm the type of person who loves to get up and get ready, but I just noticed that I am not doing any of that. I just let myself go, and I used to be this person who dresses to the T, to the nines, and put makeup on, do my hair, and now I don't even want to get up. And so we assess a lot of that, like how are your symptoms impacting your day to day functioning. So number two is your mental health symptoms are interfering with your ability to work. Number three, you've tried coping strategies, but nothing is working. So, you've done the therapy, you're taking your medications, you're going to Calm app, you're doing mindfulness, you're taking breaks, you're doing your walk, and nothing is changing. You feel like you are literally drowning. And not only that, but the work stress is outweighing your ability to function. I worked with a lot of people like this. We call this, if they have like a person who is just functioning, like depression functioning. Yeah, when we think of depression, we think of someone who what I was explaining in the previous scenario where they're unable to get up, they're not able to do this, they're not able to feed the kids, they're not they lay in bed for several days. Depression doesn't always look like that. And I think a lot of the movies and TV think that to be depressed, you have to be that type of person. Depression shows up in many different types and forms, and you can be still a functioning person who has depression. And so we have a lot of assumptions about anxiety, depression, and other mental health diagnoses that, again, are often portrayed in media that this is how it should be. And then when we don't have the portrayal, we're like, nothing's wrong with me, right? I'm not depressed. I don't have anxiety. I don't have this. I don't have that. But it shows up in different ways for people. And so this is why working with a therapist, talking to your doctor is important because they can point out, you know what, being irritable or isolating yourself can actually be signs of depression also. So when your work stress is outweighing your ability to function, and therapy, medication, mindfulness, all the things that you're supposed to be doing is no longer for you, that may be a sign that it is time for you to take a break for your mental health. So, number three is you've tried coping strategies, but nothing is working. Number four, your doctor or therapist recommends a medical leave. And if you are a licensed provider, if your licensed provider, like your doctor, your therapist, believes that taking time off would help stabilize your mental health, that's a fucking, I'm sorry, that's a huge, strong signal right there. And I know that when I work with clients for ongoing and they talk about the work stress, I would say, and other therapists other therapists do not like to touch this topic where, like, you know what, talk to your primary care provider or talk to your psychiatrist or whoever to see if they will complete paperwork for you. So it really depends on the therapist too. I know that when I was a therapist, specifically because I did EAP work and I worked with some of my clients a very long term, when work becomes so much for them where they can't function, the burnout is there. Taking a few days off doesn't do anything. I would say, you know what? Have you thought about taking medical leave? Have you thought about taking leave for your mental health so that you can really reassess to see what it is that it's important for you? And is taking time off what you need, or do you actually need to take time off to really think about what your next steps are? And so, number four, when your doctor or therapist recommends a medical leave, and again, each scenario, each situation is so different. Some medical providers will complete the paperwork, some won't. Some therapists will complete the paperwork, some won't. And so it just depends on who you work with. And I would say if you are working with a therapist right now and work seems to be always a constant struggle, and I recommend you talking to your medical provider, your therapist, if you are working with one. And the paperwork that HR gives you can vary from place to place. For example, some FMLA paperwork would say we need a diagnosis for this, or some of them say we don't want a diagnosis, just explain what's going on and how taking a medical leave would help this particular employee. And so, again, I would highly, highly recommend you if you are seriously thinking about doing this, talk to your medical provider or your therapist if work is just so overwhelming and taking control of your life. So that is number four. Number five, you're experiencing physical symptoms due to stress. Are you feeling a lot of pain in your chest or in your stomach and having constant headaches, migraines? And you go to a doctor, and the doctor does all these blood work and does all these tests, and they come back, oh, nothing's wrong. You're like, I know there's something wrong. My chest hurts, my stomach hurts, I have constant headaches. What's going on? You know what? That may be due to your mental health. Okay. You may also be having chronic fatigue, again, headaches, insomnia, panic attacks. Maybe that chest pain that you thought was a heart attack is actually panic attacks or other stress related health issues. We all know this holistic health. Whatever you're feeling mentally impacts us physically. A lot of times we don't believe in the mental health until it impacts our physical health. When the physical health happens, we start taking our mental health seriously. Again, everything is holistic. And so if you're experiencing physical pain symptoms due to stress, due to your job, it may be time to really consider taking FMLA for your mental health. Number six, I think we've all had this, been through this, and probably have completed this. So you feel that you're on the verge of quitting your job, not because you want to, but because you can't keep going. Again, as a therapist, I've had clients where they've waited so long that it's become a crisis. split in crisis, and they're like, "Paya, I cannot do this anymore." I with that email or some little thing just threw them over the edge. And it's not even that email, it's a accumulation of things. It's like a volcano, you know? You think you can handle it, and it's that one little thing that you just explode, you just erupt. And it's like, I can't do this anymore. This is a crisis. I'm going to quit. I'm going to do this. I'm going to do that. It's like, okay, all right, let's think about this. Let's think about this. Let's problem solve this. And what are the steps that you can do before you take this step of quitting? So, taking FMLA might be the break that you need to rest, to reset, to reassess before making drastic decisions. And if during that time, during your break, you're like, you know what? I needed this clarity and I can't keep going. I need a change in my life. I need to start making plans, or maybe if I can't do this now, let me come up with a backup plan and give myself a month or 2 or 6 months and say, let's do this for this time frame. And I have a plan to get out of this. So taking FMLA can help you with that. So six very, I want to say like very simple steps, or not steps, but signs to look for that it may be time for you to take FMLA. Very straightforward. And so to wrap things up, taking a break for your mental health is not only okay, but very, very necessary. It's essential to prioritize your mental well-being, to take care of yourself. If you're feeling overwhelmed, don't be afraid to take a step back and breathe. Remember, FMLA exists to protect your job while you prioritize your mental health. You're not lazy, you're not selfish, you're not weak for needing time to take care of you. You're actually being honest and responsible. And not a lot of people are willing to do that because of fear, because of whatever repercussions that they think may occur because of taking a break. So that is all I have for today. And if you're watching this and you've taken a mental health break, please share your story in the comments below. I have taken a mental health break, and honestly, it has been the best thing for me ever, because I honestly, when I said I had an imagination, I imagine things like, we kind of laugh about it. Like I watch like on social media all these memes about, oh, maybe I'll just fall off the stairs, or, do something silly so that I can avoid work. But I've thought about that too, And so um if you've actually taken a break from work due to your mental health, please share your story and inspire others who may be thinking about this also. So again, everybody, thank you for watching this. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you're new here, please hit the like button, and yeah, and if you want to, please subscribe to my channel. As always, I'm so grateful for all of you. And again, this is Paya from Your Own Pathway. I hope you all have a wonderful day, wonderful week, and please, 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 please take care of yourself. That is all. All right, bye.